Hello and welcome to Kitco Mining's Investment Trends with me, Paul Harris, where today we'll be talking about silver development in Salta, Argentina, and Argenta Silver's El Quevar project. Argenta Silver trades on the TSXV with the ticker AGAG. And joining me today is President and CEO Joaquín Marias. Joaquín, welcome to Kitco.
Thank you very much, Paul. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, very interesting to speak with you. Argenta is a relatively new company. It went public in October 2024 with the backing of industry legend Frank Juster. It's up 100% so far this year, its share price. I interviewed Frank at the Gold Forum in September last year, and he mentioned that this launch was coming and that he had been looking for a silver asset for some time. You brought the project to him, Joaquín. How did you come by El Quevar, and how did you bring it to Frank's attention?
Well, Paul, it's a funny story because when I was finishing my degree, I went to Quevar as a summer internship project. And I was there for maybe a month or so. And since then, during my career, I haven't seen something that big. And I used to compare this project with some other projects that I have been around the world. And it's been very hard for me to find something that big. So I've been following the steps of the project along the way. And last August, I realized that the holding company was having some financial troubles, some financial issues. And that's something that the Fiora Group it's very good at, in finding things that are at a distress and bringing them back to market. So we all realized that it was an opportunity, and that's how we ended up acquiring this. But it's totally true what you spoke about with Frank. When I brought this asset to Frank was impressed that it was a pure silver play, and he obviously told me he told you, that he's been for maybe over 40 years trying to find a pure silver asset. They are very, very rare, and that's why it caught a lot the attention of the group. It passed every filter on the technical due diligence and legal due diligences. And that's why we jump on top of it, and we have been doing great since then.
Okay, now El Quevar has been around for some time. It came to you with a 50 million ounce resource. It was originally explored by Apex Silver, then Golden Minerals, and more recently Barrick Mining had a go at it for a little while. Why do you think it's passed through so many hands?
Well, actually, it has passed through many hands, but when you think about that, the drilling seasons were mostly in summer, and they were mostly in between 6,000 to 9,000 meters per season. Some of those seasons only saw 3,000 meters of drill core. So those are the amount of meters that these companies were drilling. And after all, they found 50 million ounces. There are 104,000 meters of drilling in the property, from which 75% are inside the current resource. So the resource has received probably 75,000 meters of drilling, which it's translating to us on a resource that it's 45 million ounces on the indicated category and only 4 million ounces on the inferred category. So that's telling you a lot, and it has been going one company to the other. But I would have to say that mostly it's been in hands of Golden Minerals, and they left the country in 2013 to go to Mexico for another enterprise over there. But the project was mostly dormant for the last 10 years. And I think that there was the potential, and there is our expertise coming back to awake something that it's been sleeping for almost 10 years. Barrick came in 2020 in the middle of the pandemic in Argentina. We had one of the hardest lockdowns in the world, and that was very hard for mining companies. We couldn't even put people in the field to work properly during the pandemic. So Barrick did some holes. They drilled only 5 drill holes in 2022. At that moment, they were divesting a lot of assets from Argentina. So they also were not really interested in the project. And they were looking mostly gold in some other areas of the project. But in 2024, Barrick gave back the project to Golden Minerals because actually there was an agreement in between Golden Minerals and Barrick. And that's when the financial situation from Golden Minerals started to get really bad, and when we came into for the offer, with an offer in our hands, and we ended up purchasing this project.
Okay, and what's the deal structure for the project? What did you pay? What did you pay for it?
So we pay 3.5 million American dollars. That was it. This is a company today, Argenta Silver. It's a company with no pending payments, with no debt. We are very well cashed up now, and there was nothing else than the cash to Golden Minerals, and then we had 100% ownership of the project. And this is a project that it's coming with a lot of infrastructure internally, with a lot of infrastructure externally, and it's very rare to find projects like this around the world.
Okay, now we've mentioned that Frank Justa and his Fiore Group were the backers of the project. Let's talk a little bit more about you. You're a geologist. You brought the project to Fiore. You were originally vice president of exploration when the company launched, and in a few months the company went without a proper full-time CEO. You were recently, or a few months ago, promoted to that role. What's your background, Joaquín?
So my background, I am a geologist. I am a geological scientist with a 5-year plus thesis degree from Argentina. I studied in the province of San Juan. I was born in Argentina, and I have been working in different countries for different companies, mostly on the private side. And for the last 4 years, I have been living here in Canada, in Vancouver, working for the Fiore Group and for other companies here in the group. And I have to say that when we created this, I was bringing the asset. I put together the team in Argentina. I start moving things forward, as you mentioned, as the VP of exploration. But at some point, we were looking for the right CEO, and we were looking for a CEO that could speak Spanish, a CEO that understood Latin America, a CEO that could speak well English, a CEO that could understand the markets here, and somebody that could also talk to government and communities down there, somebody that has some technical knowledge. And after looking, we ended up understanding that the person with all those characteristics was actually me. So knowing the project as I was knowing it, and moving things as I were moving those things at the moment, I think that it was a very good decision from the company to appoint me as a CEO, to start moving things forward. I have to say, Paul, that I'm still a very young person. I'm 37 years old, and there is a gap in this industry, and everybody acknowledged that there is a huge gap. And I'm very, very happy to still be a young CEO, but at the same time to have all the backup and the support from mentors and people behind me like Frank Justa and many others that are helping me to grow professionally and to develop well in a position like this, right?
Well, congratulations there, Joaquín. In addition to Frank Justa, who else are the big names in the company in terms of shareholders? In particular, can you sort of tell us a little bit about Argentine businessman Eduardo Elsztain?
Yes, of course. So Eduardo Elsztain, he's a real estate businessman. It's a very big real estate businessman in Argentina. He's also an agri businessman, and he's also a mining businessman. He understands very, very well the mining industry. You can talk to him like one-on-one about the industry. And he owns big positions in a gold mine in Chile, in a silver mine in Argentina, and different projects in Argentina. We have seen him diversifying into silver in Argentina as well. And when we comment to him about Quevar, the Elsztain Group moved very quickly to make a strategic investment here because they obviously acknowledge the potential of the project and the potential of silver moving forward into this bull market, right? So he is very well involved as well with the industrial spectrum in Argentina. He's very well known for his good political connections. He's a person of a very, very high integrity, And that's part of what we want to build here in this company. We are trying to bring long-term, high-quality shareholders. El Quevar, it's a place with a huge amount of potential. And you need, for these kind of cases, these kind of people, right? People that understands the game and that they understand that things are not built from the night to the morning, that things take time to get good or to become better things and to achieve value. And Eduardo and his group, they understand that perfectly.
Okay, let's talk a little bit more about the project itself. You've got a 50 million ounce resource, and as you said, most of that is in indicated category. So that's a great start for Argenta. In the sector, people talk about a rule of thumb of you need at least 100 million ounces to be able to have a viable mining project. What do you see, what do you need to do to get El Quevar up towards that 100 million tons and beyond?
Well, so for the 100 million ounces actually of silver,
ounces, yeah.
No problem. So for the 100 million ounces of silver, actually what we understand that we have to do is we need to work on the adjacency of the resource. So that's what I call resource expansion, right? So it has to be very clear for the audience or for our investors to understand that we will approach this project in a very methodological, very systematic approach. We will be very intelligent on the way that we approach this. And there will be a very well balanced in between what it's resource expansion and what it's exploration. So as I said, only 25% of this project has only 25% of the drilling has gone into exploration. So let's put it this way. There is about 96 or 97% of the surface of the project that it's been completely unexplored. And that's upside potential for us. So on that balanced approach, we will do resource expansion on the adjacency of the resource. We will try to extend that on the points of the resource, on the down plunge, on the down deep, on the up deep of the resource. So we will be working a lot there, not that much into the resource, but on the sides of it. And then we will go and do exploration, trying to find new things out there. This is a project, as I said, with a lot of geological potential. We understand by the geological evidences that there is more mineral out there, but we need to drill that. We cannot stay only working on the resource when we have this precious potential out there. And that's going to be the idea. We will see in the incoming seasons more and more amount of meters to be drilled, and the allocation of those meters will be accordingly to that balance that I'm talking about.
Okay. Now, the company recently published your first drilling results, which included a couple of confirmation holes in the resource, including 20.2 meters grading 533 grams per ton of gold in hole 10 there. No surprise there. That was a confirmation hole. More interesting, perhaps, was hole 8, which was a step-out hole that extended the high-grade zone by 50 meters to the southeast with an assay of 19.2 meters grading 112 grams per ton. How do you see the resource growth coming? Are you going to continue doing those step outs?
Well, Paul, this is a great step out for us because the step out, it's actually being drilled in between the resource, where the resource is ending, and another spot that has been historically drilled with high grade. So we step out 50 meters away from the resource towards that spot where it's been drilled some good mineralization. So this is telling us that, hey, you should keep drilling in this area, right? You should keep extending this. We could probably extend the deposit if we keep drilling these good drills. We could extend the deposit probably 150 meters, right? So these are the kind of things that we are looking to. And we also drilled recently a step out that it's on the other end, on the down plunge of the deposit. And on that end, well, we are waiting from the lab to give us the results back. But we are very keen on drilling these step outs. The same is happening with the up deep potential. We don't know if the deposit is coming to surface or not. So what we need to do there, we need to drill obviously in between the upper portion of the resource and surface to understand if all that it's also mineralized or not. So adding tons by drilling those areas, it's very good for us because there is a very high grade. So every time that you add a little bit of tons, your resource increased drastically because the grade is really high. So let's say that we are in a very advantageous position having this resource there, and it's just a matter of keep drilling on the adjacency.
Now, Frank Justa is obviously very successful, very demanding. So I imagine he's given you a target of within, whatever that's 2 years, 3 years, he wants that 100 million ounces. What is the target you're working to, and what is the timeline that you have on that? So
actually, I wake up every morning, Paul, just dreaming. I'm not saying that we would find it. This is my goal. This is where I want to go. I wake up every morning dreaming with 250 million ounces of silver. And I have to say that we are working as fast as we can towards that. If you see some companies in the same province that they are exploring for silver, 7 years ago, they had just a little bit of a resource. And in 7 years, now they are coming into a PFS stage. That happened because they have been approaching the projects in a very methodological approach and a very systematic approach. That's where we want to be. If you think about that, you also mentioned that in October, the 28th of October, we start trading as Argenta Silver. And actually, we started exploration on the 1st of January from this year. We are just about to finish July and look at all the achievements that we have done. We not only have a great relationship that we have built with the government and the communities, but we are also starting to deliver good results to the market. We are starting to understand very well what do we have in hands. And all this is happening very, very fast. It's a project where you can drill year round. Now in Argentina, it's winter, and we are drilling in the middle of winter, which is kind of challenging, but we are not wasting time at all. If we can drill now and our team can be there, even if it's challenging, we will do so because we want to advance this the fastest as we can. And as an example again, there are companies that have come to PFS in 5 years or 7 years. And I believe that our path will be pretty much similar to that.
Now, drilling a lot requires a lot of money, and with the silver price at $39 per ounce, now is a great time to launch a new silver company and a great time to raise. Last week, you announced a 10 million Canadian bought deal at a 17% discount to market. That was then upsized by 30% to 13 million Canadian dollars to raise funds for exploration. And I think very notably, your share price quickly went back up to that sort of 48, 50 cents per share level. It seems to have been a very popular financing. I know you were working really hard on that at the end of last week, Joaquín. Who's come into the company via this bought deal?
Well, we will see some institutions coming in, which is great for us because at this moment, almost 55% of the company, it's retail, pure retail. And we want to see a little bit more of institutions. It's good to have institutions because, again, what we want to do here is we want to build a company that will have long-term, high-quality shareholders. And these institutions, they understand very well what's the play here, where we are going, and they understand very well what we are doing. And we will see some institutions coming in, and obviously there will be a lot of retail coming in, but that's great. And actually, it was a very interesting bought deal that we received. Let's say that we were already excited on Monday when we put this news out. Things went up to the roof. We were receiving calls from everybody. I've been telling this in every conference that I have been since October, that we were going to drill on the adjacency of the resource. The results were going to come out. So it was kind of something that you could expect, that drilling so close from the resource. These results were coming out because it's kind of obvious when you see some of the images that there could be some mineral. Well, this is a confirmation that there is mineral. We put it out on Monday. And as I say, things went to the roof. And soon after, we got this bought deal on us. And it's it's very motivating for us and for the team is telling everybody, keep doing a great job, because then you are rewarded. So we will keep working as hard as we can, non-stop, because the project deserves that. It's been dormant for 10 years, and it needs a little bit of effort for it to be awakened. So here we are for that.
Okay, so you've filled your treasury. What is the plan for the next 18 months? How much do you plan to drill over the next 18 months? And what are some of the key catalysts that we can expect to see?
So currently we're drilling 4,000 meters, and we have crossed half of those 4,000 meters. So the audience and the investors, they need to understand that we will be finishing by probably September or October, this 4,000 meters. Afterwards, I hope to launch a much larger season, maybe 2 times or 3 times what this season was. So in between 10 to 15,000 meters would be ideal to drill in El Quevar for the summer. And that's going to be summer drilling in Argentina, which will be ending probably by April. And we will see a continuous flow of news coming out from that program and for the ongoing program as well. So I think that up to half of next year, we will see the results from all these efforts that we are doing. And afterwards, we will need to keep drilling. And again, on one step at a time, understanding that if one target is successful, we will keep there drilling, but we will not neglect the other targets that we understand that have more potential. So we will be following those targets that are giving us results. And at the same time, we will try to look on the other targets that could expand the amount of ounces that we have. All that, it's in terms of exploration. At the same time, we will be drilling on the adjacency of the resource to keep growing the current resource that we have there.
Okay. Now, Joaquín, my understanding is silver often occurs with many other minerals. And as part of the research for this call, for this interview today, I was looking back at some of the studies done in the past, such as the metallurgical test work in 2012, which I think informed that 50 million ounce resource. And that indicated there's potentially deleterious elements, including bismuth, arsenic, and antimony that could be present in a silver concentrate, which would obviously attract smelter penalties. That study is obviously from more than 10 years ago, but the minerals, I imagine, are still there. Well, they are still there. How do you plan to address this issue? I imagine that's something that you've got front of mind as well. How do you address that?
So that what you said, it's totally right. The rocks don't change. What changes technology. So the last test work that we have is from 2012, metallurgical test work. It's from 2012. So I think that some things might have changed in terms of, concentration technology. However, our team went through all the database and we haven't found deleterious elements in elevated amounts that are alarming to us. So we haven't found anything that it's telling us, hey, this is a no-go, or this is going to be a very complicated project. And that's also something that I'm trying to educate some people. When you have a metal element, the only way to make that element stable in nature is by bonding it with sulfur. And behind sulfur, there will come some antimony, arsenic, or whatever. That's how you make a molecule for those minerals that then are extractable. But that's the stable form of, let's say, silver, right? So every mineral, most of the minerals from silver, they will have sulfur, antimony, or arsenic in the formula. The problem is how much of that you have in a deposit to make it in alarming levels that you won't be able to put your concentrate out for the market without suffering penalties or without some others rejecting completely your concentrate. What we have seen is that our ore has normal levels. In some cases, there is an extra bit of antimony or arsenic, but nothing at this moment that it's alarming us and that it's making us think that we should be taking some measures. So far, we will keep exploring, and maybe we find another place of the deposit that has more arsenic. Maybe we find another part of the deposit that it has less arsenic. Nature is very variable, But so far, nothing that for us is absolutely alarming. But yes, some people has told me how it's possible that in a silver project you have some antimony or some arsenic. Well, it's the only way that you can make minerals in this world. So far for us, it's in regular levels, and we are not alarmed or concerned about that.
Okay. Now, I mentioned a moment ago that now's a great time to be a silver explorer with the prices where they are. I think it's also a good time to be an explorer and developer in Argentina under the government of President Javier Milei. He has put positive policies in place for the sector. How can Argenta benefit from those policies, Joaquín?
Well, first of all, there are been a lot of removals from different regulations that affect the industry directly and indirectly. We need to think that there was a currency control in Argentina. There were foreign exchange controls. There were import and export controls. So we should see in the incoming years a stabilization or an equalization in price for different things. And that's going to take a little bit of time. But now with these measures in place, those things are going to be much easier to achieve. The other thing that we need to understand is that there are some incentives that the government has put in place. One of them is the large investment incentive. So for those that are investing certain amounts, I have to say that it's above $200 million. So for those that are investing that amount of money, you can get into this incentive plan and you will get a lot of benefits in terms of legal and tax. That it's putting the country in a very, very competitive position. I think that the total load, it's around 35% in taxes or below that. So that's making the country more competitive under that regime or under that incentive. It's making Argentina more competitive than countries like Canada or like Chile. And that's why we have seen, for example, companies like Rio Tinto and some others that are coming into the country under that incentive. Companies like ours and like small explorers, at some point on the long term, they will be able probably to get included in those incentive plans. And I think that we will see more incentive plans coming on for companies with a smaller budget. But at the end of the day, it helps in every case to the industry because the policies from Javier Milei are also affecting the population, are affecting the market that it's trying to deal with Argentina. So we will see better products coming into Argentina. We will have more variety of products coming into Argentina. We will see that the people, will be with some other mood in terms of how they perform. So we are starting to see all these things that before we couldn't and or we didn't see. And even technological changes. We are starting to receive new technology that before we couldn't import into the country. And all these things are going to affect the industry in a big manner. It was kind of a nightmare to operate in Argentina with so many regulations in place. And with this, I have to say that there is breath. There is a lot of new air coming into the companies in Argentina, and that it's great.
Okay, you mentioned the large project initiative. That's the famous RIGI regime. My understanding is there's a time limit to be able to apply for that. But I imagine the industry is lobbying to extend that timeline to allow projects that take time to explore and get to that stage to then later be able to take advantage of that. What is there a move to extend the deadlines on that?
Look, these deadlines have been all kicked up front every time that the industry has pushed for it. I have to say that I can tell you actually if it's going to be moved forward or not. What I can say is that Milei, the president of Argentina, he's totally convinced that the economy will be built on top of natural resources. That's oil and gas industry, the mineral industry, and on the agribusiness in Argentina. There was a very big conference the other day in Argentina for the agro industry, and he was announcing a lot of tax lowering and a lot of the regulations for the people that has not only cattle, but the soy and wheat and all these things that are being planted in Argentina. So there it's a lot of work from this government to make things happen in a better way. So when they realize, and if they understand that they need to kick some deadlines up front, I think that they will do it, because they are starting to see the answer or the response from the markets when they are coming into Argentina. I would have to say that our company in big portion, we got into Argentina because there's a very big change of politics there. And I can tell you that here in Vancouver, I hear that all the time. People that is looking to do business now with Argentina in a manner that 4 years ago when I came here, nobody was talking about that. But now you can feel that everywhere.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about Salta. Salta's in the pretty much the extreme northwest of Argentina. You're up in the Andes Mountains. You mentioned you're able to operate year round, and looking at the map, there's been quite a bit of investment in renewables, in solar, in natural gas projects. So it sounds like the infrastructure is pretty good. How is the infrastructure and access to your project? And water availability is obviously going to be an issue at some point going forward. So perhaps end up by telling us a little bit about the infrastructure you have nearby.
Well, this is one of the biggest advantages of the project, and that's why we got so excited when we saw the project coming into our hands, because it's not only that we have 50 million ounces combined in between inferred and indicated, and that we have 60 kilometers of internal roads that we have in heritage. We also have an internal camp for 100 people, that it's a concrete foundations, and we have other buildings in the property, 2 water wells that give us water, and a lot of places where we can take water in a safe manner and in a permitted manner within the project. But talking specifically about the external infrastructure, that it's also a huge advantage that not many projects in the world will have. We have a railroad coming to our place. We have a gas pipeline. We also have a road that it's actually mostly paved. It's 50% paved, and they are paving at 25% more of that. So we will have 75% paved road coming into the project. And there is a high voltage power line that is connected to 2 solar farms that are in the north of the project. These 2 solar farms are very big. One of them is the biggest one from South America. And actually, the high voltage line is connected to the national grid, and it never, the energy there, it's never cut. So it never shuts down. And that's a very big advantage. And the gas pipeline that it's coming just at 3 kilometers from our camp, which is actually coming parallel to the railroad and the road. That's gas pipeline. It's a fully pressurized, and it's a mining gas pipeline. It's been built specifically for the mining industry, and the government built that mining gas pipeline in years ago, probably in the 90s or the 2000s. They built that gas pipeline because they understood the potential that El Quevar has, and they understood that in the future, the project might need gas there. So that's why they built it next to the railroad, and that's a huge advantage. The railroad, it's operative. We have the train coming once per week there. And, this is infrastructure that we won't have to pay in the future. Some companies, they have to plan that. Some companies, they need to plan the grid, the electric grid. They need to plan how they will energize or power the project and how they are going to move the ore in the future. We have everything there. Most of the infrastructure just at 3 kilometers from camp. So it's a huge cost that we won't have to incur in the future.
Well, it sounds like you've got a great setup there at El Quevar, Joaquin. You said you were also sort of continuing step-out drilling. When can we next expect to see some drill results?
So as I mentioned, Paul, we are waiting for samples to come back from the lab. I believe that we will see samples coming back in the incoming weeks, and afterwards in the coming month and so on. So just to have an idea, we are about to end the month of July. We should be receiving samples, or news should be coming out by somewhere in mid-August. probably at the beginning of September, somewhere at the end of September or October, and so on. So I expect to have news coming every 3 to 4 weeks to the market. And that's the continuous flows of news that we are trying to do here. We are trying to be as transparent as it can be, and we are trying to be as diligent as we can be. So doing as much work as we can to put news out and to get good results. There is a lot of value to be added from this project, and we are going to do our best to unlock all the potential from El Quevar.
Well, congratulations on a solid start. Joaquín Marias, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks to you, Paul. Thank you.
And we will have more investment trends videos about Argenta Silver, whose ticker is AG on the TSXV, as it advances its exploration at El Quevar. So hit that subscribe button. I am Paul Harris, and this is Kitco Mining.